Thaamir. Moerat here is an entrepreneur, sales trainer of note, and he's done training internationally. He's learned from international players as well, and you're going to spend the next hour with him. And Thaamir, we'd like you to make yourself at home and do what you normally do good.
Welcome. Thanks for having me. I'm going to try and just go through certain points of the importance of selling yourself and how to sell a product. Tell me, anybody in the audience, anyone here in sales? The rest of you? Lawyers? Okay. I was about to say that everything in life is sales related. So everybody should be in sales. Whatever you do, you are in sales, right? Ask a girl on a date, what do you do? Sell yourself. Check. Come on, meet the in-laws. Sell yourself. Go for a job interview. Sell your. What am I doing now? Selling. No. a bit of both. Guys, everything in life is sales related. I remember that. My dad always asked me, when am I going to get a real job? You know, they're always asking you that. What do you actually do? It's like, I speak and I just sell stuff. I open companies and we do sales. So when you're going to get a real job, guys, sales is a real job. Whatever you do, be honest with me. Those of you who put your hands up and said that you are into sales, how many of you actually just fell into sales by chance and you ended up just stuck being a salesman? Be honest. Most people don't choose sales as a first choice. They'll always say that I tried to become a lawyer, or I tried to become a doctor, or I tried to become a fitness instructor, and then by chance I had to sell to make it through life. The day I decided, I went the same route. I was going to be an accountant, and you know, you go to Stellenbosch University. I ended up failing every subject completely. I couldn't do it. And the day I realized that I'm a good speaker, I'm a good salesman, and I'm going to invest in my sales health, is the day that I really started making money. And today at 34, I've got 8 companies. Things are really going well purely because I invested in my sales health and took my sales techniques to another level. Okay, we don't have a lot of time, so I'm just going to go through a couple of points on what I'm going to discuss with you guys today. The first thing I want to do is discuss with you guys is sales education. Now, if you are in a court, if you are accused for murder, right, and it's false, and you got to go find yourself a lawyer, you're going to go to the best lawyer out there, right? The guy that studied for 10 years. The guy that actually invested in becoming a lawyer. If you're going to go out there and you got a disease and you got to see the best doctor, who are you going to see out there? You're going to go to the doctor that is specializing in what he does. But so few of us, I see we have a couple of guys who look like they are into training and into gymming. Can you become or have the best body out there if you don't invest in your health? Can you become the best doctor out there if you don't study to be the best doctor? So how can you expect to be good at sales if you don't invest in your sales health? A lot of people think that sales is just a goofy technique or gimmick, that you're actually just going out there and trying to sell a product. Sales is an art, it's a process. I read 3 sales books every month to continually invest in my sales health. Everything in life is sales related. So the importance of sales education today, decide what it is that you want to do in your life with regards to the industry that you are in, and read as many sales books as possible. Invest in your sales health. Remember guys, as anything out there, I call myself a sales professional. I never stop learning. And there are always different sales books and sales techniques out there that you can learn to take yourself and whatever you are selling to another level. Guys, if you are a waiter, you are selling. If you are a lawyer, you're looking for clients. The best doctors out there, Dr. Darren Green, I don't know if you guys heard of him. Yep. You know your name? Yes, on Cape Talk. Yeah, he was on a ship. He's one of my best mates. Now, he became a doctor, but purely because of his sales skills. Look what he's doing today. And he became a doctor. Michael Mole, good example as well. He's a doctor, but because of how he sells himself and what he does, look what he's doing today. And there's a lot of other examples of people out there. So the importance of sales education, I can't stress that enough. You have to invest in your sales health. It's the most important thing to invest in any sector. Present yourself. I always tell people this, that within the first 10 seconds, somebody decides if they're going to listen to you or not. You guys know that, right? When I started talking, how long did it take you to decide that I'm actually going to pay attention or I'm going to sleep? 10 seconds. Within the first 10 seconds, that's all you have. Whether you're selling on the phone, whether you're going to present face to face, whether you're presenting to an audience, whether you're speaking in a boardroom, You have 10 seconds to get that guy's attention. Now, the way you present yourself, I always have a saying, present yourself with class, pride, and display character. If you do that, the sales process is already halfway done. Guys, it's all about presenting yourself. I've actually got a pic out there where one guy's wearing this baggy swag with his jeans hanging over here, and he's got his top hat, and then you have a picture of Robert De Niro in his suit, and it says, real gangsters wear suits. Just a quick one. I got my first sales job. You know when you go through the newspapers and no experience required. The only places where people say no experience required is when? Sales. Because everybody thinks that sales is a gimmick. No experience required. Let's just go for it. And my first sales job, my dad went bankrupt. I was 20 years old, didn't know what I was going to do with my life. And I rode to that sales company in my car. I literally I just had enough petrol to get to the front of the company for my job interview. And when I walked in there, it was a sales job, call center sales, get on the phone, do whatever you need to do. And I went in there and I actually just asked the guy, please just give me a chance. I sat there the whole day until the night trying to make a sale. And I made a sale at 10 o'clock the evening. He waited with me. And that's how I got my first sales job. Because of pushing and pushing and pushing. And when I was at this company, I had the same bloody opening. The same parrot-styled opening. I used the same words verbatim. Now, any of you seen a call center, there's a lot of people, everybody's selling and everybody's just listening to each other. And one of the guys actually told me, are you not bored of that same bloody opening? And I explained to him that you might hear it 20 times or 30 times an hour. But that client, if it works for you, that client hears it the first time. So every time I'm calling or every time I'm seeing a client, he's hearing that opening that's working. Everything else in your pitch goes according to objections and transitions and what's happening in the call or what's happening in the face-to-face sale. But your opening should be used parrot style. Guys, practice it. If it works for you, don't change it. And it can be a goofy punchline. It can be the way you present yourself when you shake your hand and how you make eye contact and what you say at the beginning when you meet somebody. Practice these things. When you go to a meeting, you're not just going to go there and meet somebody and it's a goofy, what am I about to say right now? It has to be practiced. Everything is a technique. I promise you, the best salespeople in the world, everything that they do in that hour presentation has been practiced daily. What they're going to say, when they're going to say it, how they're going to make eye contact, when they're going to laugh, when they're going to look down, when they're going to move up, when they're going to crack this joke. I swear to God, I've been through the most I never stop training. I've seen guys practice a 2-hour sales pitch from scratch. He knows when he's going to laugh. He knows when he's going to make a joke. He knows when he's going to get serious. He knows when he's going to make eye contact. These guys practice, and that's why they're so good. How many of us out there, we think that if we're going to make a sales pitch, we just go and we start talking and we play a numbers game? Be honest, that's what we do. We think it's a numbers game. We just go out there and we try our luck. It's not, guys. You get people that close every deal purely because they are practicing their sales skills and practicing their presentation. Your opening is the most important part of the call or the important part of your sales pitch. If you get your opening right, that first 10 seconds to 30 seconds, you already get the guy to move and give you. Remember, what do you want in your opening? Do you want to close? You just want him to listen to you. When you meet somebody, you just want a meeting. You want him to give you the opportunity to go through the next stage, which is qualifying, quantifying, close. How many of you in sales have heard this technique? You must hear it. It's common out there. Qualify, quantify, close. Now, how do you qualify your client? In any industry, you got to obviously do your homework. Decide what you are selling, get your target market, and pitch the target market. Don't just go out there and cold call or just go out there and try and sell a product. You obviously got to do your homework. You got to qualify your client to narrow it down. Remember, if you're starting something in sales, you're sitting with probably a list of 10,000 people. So now, how do you qualify it? If you are selling, let's make an example. So I had to go and qualify my client. Now, just making a quick example. Any industry you are in, important to qualify your client. Make sure that you're going to the right target market, because you don't want to just be fishing. You don't want to just be angling. You want to know where the hot spot is, qualify your client, and hit that market. Quantify. How do you quantify your product? Now, if you're selling electronics, when you go in there, what does a salesman do? The first thing you do, you're coming for a surround sound system with a big screen TV. When you see, the first thing you're thinking as a consumer is price, be honest. You're coming there and you're looking at all these big screens and you're saying, okay, do I go 80-inch, 100-inch, 120-inch, and what would the price be of these different things? So the salesman is standing and he's watching you. Now his job is to sum you up and see exactly what he should sell you on. Because the first thing you are doing when you get in there as a consumer, you are quantifying the product. In your mind, you're thinking, okay, cool. Surround sound, 80 inch TV, 80 inch, surround sound, 12 watt speakers. I'm not into selling electronics, but he gives you everything to build value. Now, as he speaks, in your mind, you're thinking, okay, 10 grand, 10,500, 11, 12, because he's quantifying his product. And that's what a lot of salespeople don't do. You got to build enough value around that product, because the consumer is thinking price immediately. You go to buy a car, so you go to VW, buy Polo, okay, entry level. Now you're standing there. Entry level Polo is probably 90,000, 100, 110, I don't know. So in your mind, the salesman comes and he goes, okay, now this specific model has Bluetooth. Now you're going, okay, extra 2 grand. It has 17-inch rims, extra 5 grand. It's got Parktronic navigation, or whatever they call these things nowadays. So the salesman is always adding value. At the end of the day, in your mind, you're thinking, okay, it's probably 120K. If he knocks you with a price of 110, you sold. Now that is a technique that a lot of people don't really use. I don't know why. Quantify your product as much as possible. The more benefits you give of your product, the more you give. Subconsciously, in any sales industry, in any market, that client is just adding value. He's thinking, okay, it's worth this, it's worth this. So that finally when you do hit him with a price, he's like, okay, it's under the price that he thought that you were going to sell it to him for. Close. Guys, you can have the best presentation in the world. I've seen this a million times. A lot of people can't close. You get people who can speak, they can present. How many of you have watched a movie, The Internship, with that Google movie? Go and watch it. It's a brilliant movie. And you actually see that, what's the actor's name? Vince Vaughn and, what's the other guy? Owen Wilson. Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn. They're these perfect salesmen, old school, and they use all the techniques. That end scene, the end scene where the Google kids with all the brains and all the presentation skills, I don't know if you guys seen it, where they try and sell the guy on franchising or outletting his pizza store. They come with their presentation skills, but none of them can close. Whereas Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn, old school guys, come in there and they use every technique to close this guy. Watch that movie, you'll really enjoy it, especially the closing scene. I watched that closing scene probably 100 times. I would like forward and just watch that in, because I'm sitting there with a smile on my face, because it's what I do, and thinking, what an awesome closing scene. That whole scene over there just goes towards, if you've got presentation skills. Whenever I speak, people ask me, why do you just have videos running in the background? Guys, I speak at summits where there are, last time I spoke, there was 20,000 people sitting in the Santon Convention Center. It was huge. And I never click, I never have slides, because I like to shoot from the hip. You can have the best presentation skills out there. I see people standing in suits and presenting as much as they can to the T. But if you can't close, and I'm not talking about speaking, you go into a boardroom and you present, if you don't have the proper closing techniques, you can't sell. Everything in your presentation is led towards where? To be able to close. So what is the point of presenting? What is the point of having the best opening? What is the point of having the best quantifying techniques, handling the objections the best, if you can't close? And guys, a simple close is asking for the order. If you did everything right throughout your presentation, a lot of people are scared to close. I listen to certain of my sales reps' calls, because I own a massive call center, and I see how the guy is actually giving you all the buying signals. All the buying signals. All he needed to do was close, and he carries on presenting. Guys, you need to learn how to look for buying signals. There are books out there and there are training materials out there that actually gives you all those techniques. People are always giving you buying signals, and a lot of salespeople, they miss it. A lot of them would oversell. The guy's ready to sign. But because you are so stuck in, I've got this presentation and I've got to complete it. Guys, in the first 2 minutes of your presentation, if that guy's give you a buying signal, what do? Close. You don't have to sit there for a full hour. If he gives you, the purpose of your sales call or your sales visit is to close. So if this guy gives you buying signals and he wants to close after 5 minutes, go in there and close really hard. Attitude and ownership. Anything, and this is a bit of motivation, guys, and now I'm going really quickly. My normal training is 5 days, so I'm trying to touch everything within the space of half an hour. Guys, if you can take one thing from this conference, is attitude and ownership. Anything in life. If you don't have the right attitude and you don't take ownership for what you are doing, if you don't do that, everything you've been taught, everything you're doing, everything you're reading, everything, all the notes you've been making, it's going to be worth nothing. The day I decided that I need to make something better for my life and I got to go out there and really graft and work hard was the day I started making money. Have the right attitude, take ownership. You know, most of us, we work for companies. You always have that slacker who says, why are you putting in extra effort? You're making this guy more money, you're not working for yourself. Every company I worked at before I actually opened all my other companies, I had a saying, act as if, and you guys know it's from the movie Boiler Room? You guys seen? Where it says, act as if you are the owner of the company. But it's always acting as if you own the company, and one day maybe you will. I ran the media company. I worked 24 hours. I had a Red Bull fridge right there. People used to tell me, why are you working so hard for this guy? Purely because I wanted to learn everything. Because if I learn everything, I might be able to do it for myself one day. So you have to have the right attitude and you have to take ownership of what you do. I tell my sales agents in my call center, when you get to work, that little cubicle, that becomes your business. Forget about the guy next to you. Forget about the guy over there. That becomes your business. When you get to your office, irrespective of if you're working for a boss, at that moment in your life, that cubicle or that desk or whatever you're doing, that actually becomes your business. Right there and then at 5 o'clock it can stop. But for that moment, that becomes your business. So attitude and ownership is everything. Objection handling. Now guys, as in sales, as in life, you're always going to get objections. Now a lot of salespeople crack when the guy starts asking them questions. If somebody's quiet, chances are that he's not going to buy. But if he's interested, he's going to ask questions. And how you handle those objections and answer that questions will determine whether you close or not. Welcome objections. They are a natural part of the sales process. There are millions of books out there on objection handling. Why? Purely because objections is part of the sales process. You have to welcome it. You have to be able to overcome it. If you are stuck and the guy asks you a question that you don't know, I always use this technique as well when I had a TV interview with SAFM News about entrepreneurship and all this jazz. Now I know for a fact that they were trying to get me, you know, they ask you these questions to try and get you to look like an idiot. Whenever somebody throws me out there and they throw me a question that I really don't know how to answer, all I'll do is I'll put some transitions together. What are transitions? Anyone know? Quickly, answer. Transition. Salespeople? Transition is simply no product knowledge. It's just talking to get you through to the answer while you are thinking. So somebody asks you a question that you're completely thinking, how am I going to answer this? I would say that, you know what? Check time. Anyone, time me. How much time I bought to think. You know what? That's a really good question. Somebody else actually asked me the same question last week. And this is what I said to solve his concern. How much time did I buy? While I'm thinking for the answer, I bought myself 10 seconds. And in that 10 seconds, I was actually thinking, putting all the scenarios together, how am I going to answer this guy? Transitions is actually no product knowledge. It's just talking while you are thinking. And a lot of people don't have the technique. If somebody asks you a question that you don't know, you go, okay. Think about it. How many of us do that? We actually just stutter. We stutter and we sound like we don't know what we're talking about. Confidently just say, you know what, that's a really good question. And you pause. Really good question. I'm thinking, geez, dude, why did you ask me that? But at the same time, you're buying time. That's all you're doing. You're buying time to be able to answer him. There's a whole book out there on how you should actually close. But guys, the easiest part of closing is what? Simply asking for the order. Simply asking, how can we proceed? If you did everything right in your sales script, if you did everything right, ask for the order. What is the worst that can happen? What is the worst that can happen? The guy can say no. Does that reflect on you as a sales agent? Does that reflect as you as a person? Surely no, everybody's not going to say yes. The only thing that will reflect on you is how you handle that no and what you do about it to not get a no at the next one. Because once you've got a no, review, what did I do wrong? What can I do better? What can I improve on? And actually make a proper effort in going out there and trying to improve yourself and trying to improve your sales skills. Guys, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it. Thanks.